What happens when two of Hollywood's toughest martial artists clash for real? Not on a movie set, but in front of stunned A-listers at a private party. The entertainment world has seen countless on-screen battles, but few real-life showdowns have captured the public imagination like the unscripted confrontation between Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal. These weren't just actors playing tough guys. They were legitimate martial artists with years of training, competition records, and reputations on the line. The real fight you never saw didn't happen in a movie theater or on a soundstage. It happened behind the scenes, in front of witnesses, and what went down has become the stuff of legend. In the early 1990s, Hollywood's action film industry was at its peak. Two martial artists were rising rapidly to fame, each with a distinct persona and background. Jean-Claude Van Damme, famously known as the Muscles from Brussels, earned recognition for his explosive kicking techniques and trademark splits. He had built his career from humble beginnings, working as a pizza delivery man in Hollywood while chasing his acting dream. Steven Seagal, on the other hand, arrived in America with mysterious stories about training in Japan and alleged connections to powerful figures. Where Van Damme was flamboyant and athletic, Seagal was calm, calculating, and built his brand around effortless control. The first sign of conflict between the two emerged during a televised interview. On the Arsenio Hall show, Seagal was asked his opinion of Van Damme. Rather than offering respect, he openly questioned Van Damme's credibility as a fighter. "I think that's a matter of opinion. He was champion anywhere." Seagal said coolly, "I'm not being catty or anything. I wish the guy all the best, but there are a lot of people who say that's not true." It was a bold swipe that planted the seed for a real-world feud. That single public remark hit Van Damme hard. Without ever having met him, Seagal had called into question the legitimacy of his fighting record, something Van Damme had earned through years of kickboxing competition across Europe. In the martial arts world, to challenge another fighter's reputation without first-hand experience is to call them a fraud, an accusation Van Damme couldn't ignore. The media pounced on the tension. Two real martial artists, both global movie stars, were now publicly at odds. Reporters began asking each man what he thought of the other. Van Damme tried to stay polite, calling Seagal a wonderful guy, but his expression always told another story. Beneath the calm smile, he was preparing for an inevitable confrontation. By this point, the feud had moved beyond Hollywood gossip. It was a matter of pride, integrity, and professional legitimacy. Van Damme had spent years proving himself through competition. Seagal's offhand comment had questioned everything he'd worked for. The stage for a real-life fight was quietly being set. As the early 1990s rolled on, every new interview poured gasoline on the fire. Seagal kept bringing up Van Damme's fighting record, subtly undermining his reputation. In martial arts circles, people began taking sides. Many supported Van Damme, pointing to his real tournament wins and kickboxing experience. Others were intrigued by Seagal's mysterious Aikido background, but whispers began. Had Seagal ever been in a real fight? One without a camera, choreography, or editing? Even Chuck Norris was pulled into the conversation. When asked about both men, Norris said, "Jean-Claude's pretty good. He trained with me for about a year and a half when he came over from Brussels, so I know him quite well." But when it came to Seagal, Norris admitted, "I don't truthfully know. I've only met him once." He pointed out that most of Seagal's movie fights relied on quick cuts and close-ups, making it hard to tell what he could really do. The more Seagal talked, the more frustrated Van Damme became. Fans wanted to know, if Seagal truly believed he could beat Van Damme, why hadn't they fought yet? Both were at the height of their fame. Van Damme had Universal Soldier and Time Cop topping the box office. Seagal had Under Siege. They were both rich, famous, and sick of hearing each other's names. The breaking point came at the most unlikely place, a party at Sylvester Stallone's mansion in Miami in 1997. Stallone was hosting one of his big Hollywood gatherings, filled with movie stars, producers, and martial artists. Among the guests were both Van Damme and Seagal. Neither man expected to see the other that night. But fate had other plans. According to Stallone, everything changed when the two locked eyes across the room. Van Damme, after years of hearing Seagal claim he could kick his ass, had finally had enough. The music faded, the crowd turned to watch. Van Damme walked straight toward Seagal and challenged him in front of everyone. "Come outside." This wasn't for cameras or publicity, this was real. Van Damme wanted to settle it once and for all. But instead of accepting, Seagal reportedly made excuses and left the party. In front of Hollywood's elite, the confrontation everyone had imagined was seconds from happening, and Seagal walked away. The moment was humiliating for Seagal and maddening for Van Damme. Stallone later said, Van Damme was too strong. Seagal wanted none of it. But the story didn't end there. Still fired up, Van Damme tracked Seagal down later that night at a Miami nightclub. When he found him, he issued the same challenge again. Come outside. Witnesses said Seagal refused a second time. Van Damme later described the incident in an interview. No fight was made, just a little pushing, because it was a beautiful house. It had beautiful furniture. I was pissed and said to Steven, come outside. I waited 2 hours, but he never came. That detail stunned everyone. Van Damme, one of the biggest action stars in the world, had waited 2 hours outside, ready to back up his words, while Seagal stayed out of sight. For Van Damme, it wasn't about ego anymore, it was about honor. For Seagal, the silence spoke louder than any kick ever could. But the story didn't end in Miami. Years later, an even wilder twist emerged. In a 2023 interview with The Telegraph, Van Damme revealed that Sony Pictures co-president Peter Guber had once offered both men $20 million each to fight in Las Vegas, live in front of millions of fans. $40 million total for a single real fight between two movie legends. It would have been the biggest martial arts event of all time, a sanctioned, televised showdown to finally settle the score. Van Damme agreed. After all the talk, he was ready to make it official. But once again, Seagal said no. It was the third time he had turned down a fight with Van Damme. First at Stallone's party, then at the nightclub, and now with $20 million on the line. Fans were stunned. Seagal had spent years questioning Van Damme's skills, yet refused to face him. Not even for a fortune. The offer proved just how huge their rivalry had become. This wasn't just gossip anymore. Major studios were willing to pay tens of millions to see it resolved. Van Damme's willingness to fight, publicly and professionally, only boosted his image. Seagal's refusal, on the other hand, raised questions he never answered. If he truly believed he could win, why not step into the ring? Over time, the truth about their rivalry became less about punches and more about personality. Van Damme talked openly about their encounters, admitting his anger but emphasizing that he wanted to handle things like a martial artist, directly with respect. Seagal, however, avoided the subject, often denying or downplaying the events even when witnesses like Stallone confirmed them. Years later, the two met again at Planet Hollywood. Instead of hostility, Van Damme approached him calmly. Hey Steven, you speak bad about me on TV. Why? He asked. Seagal muttered something unclear, avoiding eye contact. Van Damme extended his hand and said, Come on, I'm a nice guy. Am I a bad guy? Seagal relaxed, and they shook hands. That moment revealed more than any fight could. Van Damme had grown beyond needing to prove himself physically. He had nothing left to prove. It's okay if he wants to say things, Van Damme later said. It's not my problem. In the end, their rivalry became a reflection of two completely different philosophies. Van Damme embodied traditional martial arts values, respect, humility, and action over talk. Seagal built his identity on mystique and image control, relying on words and reputation more than real confrontation. The real fight between Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal was never fought in a ring, but it revealed everything about who they were. Van Damme faced his challenges head-on, even when he had nothing to gain. Seagal avoided them, even when he had everything to prove. Over the years, their reputations followed those same paths. Van Damme's honesty about his struggles, his battles with addiction, his failed marriages, his career ups and downs, made fans respect him even more. He became relatable, human, and humble. His performance in JCVD earned critical acclaim for its self-awareness and vulnerability. Seagal, in contrast, clung to his tough guy persona, refusing to acknowledge controversies or mistakes. As Van Damme evolved, Seagal stagnated. While Van Damme's career took creative turns and even comedic self-parody, like his viral Volvo truck commercial where he performed the famous split between two moving vehicles, Seagal's later films slipped into obscurity, mostly direct-to-video releases. The difference became obvious to fans. Online polls consistently favor Van Damme, not just in hypothetical fights, but in respect and admiration. To audiences, he represents authenticity and resilience. Seagal, meanwhile, has become a symbol of unfulfilled potential and inflated ego. Looking back, the real fight between Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal wasn't about fists or kicks. It was about character. One man proved his strength through honesty and action. The other relied on talk and mystery. And so, without ever throwing a punch, Van Damme won the only fight that truly mattered. He was ready when it counted. He faced his rival, waited outside for 2 hours, and even offered peace years later. Steven Seagal never showed up. That's why decades later, fans still talk about the fight that never happened, because in a way it did. The outcome was written not in bruises, but in truth. And in that truth, Jean-Claude Van Damme walked away as the real winner. The man who didn't need to fight to prove he was the better martial artist. So what do you think? Who would win if the fight ever truly happened? Let us know in the comments, because while Hollywood gave us plenty of action, this was one real-life showdown the world still can't stop imagining. Since you made it this far, you probably enjoyed this hidden piece of cinema history. So make sure to subscribe for more shocking revelations from behind the scenes. See you in the next one.